There are a number of people in our parish, God bless them, who have lost their jobs in the midst of the virus. And there are even more people in our parish who have been furloughed and have not worked since March, but are still hopeful to be called back to work. And so it has caused these brothers and sisters of ours to downsize their life, to be more economic in their living. We've had to do that in our parish, which is not a bad thing. We've had to make some cuts. I think that the same downsizing mentality is at play in the gospel, because the Lord is using two tiny things to image the kingdom of heaven: a mustard seed, which is tiny. You can see it, but it's tiny. And he uses yeast, which is microscopic, to image the kingdom of heaven. And I think that there is a reason that the Lord is doing this, because two things were happening in the Holy Land in Jesus' day, when he was alive. When Jesus was alive, the place of God's dwelling that the Jews believed, the temple in Jerusalem, had become excessively wealthy. And the caretakers of the temple, in particular the Sadducees, who were the priests of the temple, they too became extraordinarily wealthy. And what happened in all of that wealth is that the temple and the Sadducees had become corrupted. Too much wealth. During that period in which the temple had become very wealthy, the temple was practicing extreme exclusivity. There were various courts in the temple. Since the destruction of the temple, there have been several archaeological digs, and they have found huge lintels. That's the beam that goes over the door. Huge lintels that are written in Hebrew and Greek: "No Gentiles allowed beyond this point." Then they found another one that said, "No women allowed beyond this point." So access to the Holy of Holies, in other words, access to God, had become segregated. And I think that Jesus absolutely rallied against those two things. Perhaps the reason Jesus overturned the tables in the temple, the time that he overturned the money tables, is because he saw the corruption that wealth could bring. And it is very clear that the people that Jesus chose to go to were the people who were on the fringes, you'd say, on the fringes. So Jesus gives us these two things this morning: tiny things, insignificant things, yeast and a mustard seed. And what he's trying to say is that the kingdom of heaven is accessible to all people, and it is only the Father who holds all the wealth.